I thought about becoming a mediator and went through a training and I still have the certification from the course that I took over several months. And this woman who had been a mediator for a very long time, I think she might have also had a law degree. She, I mean, it was the behind the scenes, we're going to screw people. She just let us know that. That's what they do. She even invited lawyers to come in and let us know what it would be like. That they would basically delay divorces until they, took all the money from the couple, and then the mediator would step in, and their job was to just kind of finish everything once they were completely destroyed. They, I mean, it was just insane.
Like
And so
that was the model they used.
she also let us know that in Williamson County that, she had already established relationships with judges. She told what judges. She mentioned, of course, this was many years ago. Oh, and I still have the certificate because I saw it the other day, and I never did submit it to become a mediator because I hated what she taught us. But she even said that, they would create relationships with judges, and she was a manipulator. She knew what judges wanted, what their personalities were like. She would expose her cleavage, or she even admitted, a young staff person that was there, that she would tell her staff person to dress seductively when they would go to the meetings so they could get their way with judges. I mean, it was really
Organization.
unethical.
What organization or certification is this?
I will look at that certification because I saw it the other day, and I think I might even still have the notebook. And it's possible that I may have written lawyers' names in there. So I will find that. And I don't know if that's what this group wants to do. And I'm not, that's not another thing I'm trying to start.
I'll go after it.
But,
I'll go. You look at and here's.
okay.
I mean, when you said Williamson County, my ears perked up. Leslie Levy was the assistant district attorney there, and she gave a seminar to family law attorneys about how to basically use protective orders to gain an advantage in divorce. Protective orders have criminal consequences, but this was a tool that family law attorneys could use. I've got the whole thing. In fact, I think that their court went after YouTube to try to get me to pull it down, which I did, but then I put on a different forum, and it's all over the place right now. But it was interesting because she was basically teaching the attorneys to engage in criminal actions to use it to gain an advantage in divorce, and that was Williamson County. Now, also in Williamson County, there was this one lady there. I forget her name. I could probably find it because I had email correspondence with her, in which basically she was talking amongst themselves, said, after we destroyed their families, do we have any ethical obligations to help rebuild them? My thought, well, quit destroying their families. But there's a book as well that confirms exactly what you're saying. It's by Judy Perico. It's called Stolen Vows. I'll put it in the chat here. But she was a mediator, and they basically kicked her out because she was saying, wait a minute, we can help to save these marriages. Judy is up in, I think it's in Minnesota or something like that. I've only talked with her once or twice. But her book is very interesting. I'll stick it in here.
Okay.
But everything that you're
Well,
saying is
yeah, the training was basically, and the reason she brought in those lawyers who she had already had relationships with, was to train us on their method. That they were going to take all of their money. They were admitting that they could probably end those divorces sooner, but it was about the money. And then our job was just to come in at the end when they were broke and finish it off, and that mediation wouldn't even be that difficult because they would be so broken and broke by that point.
Oh,
It was really sick.
it was
It was
sick.
really,
It is
really,
sick.
it was really, really sick. And it's possible that I have the training manual. I have this history of like, I hate what they just taught me, and I'll throw it away. That's
Yeah.
what I did to all my CSC stuff. Not being forward thinking at all. Very
not looking
forward,
at it
but
as this is evidence.
I
Yes,
know.
evidence.
I should have done that, but it's
This
possible
one.
that I may have kept it. They also admitted at that time, and I don't know if the laws have changed, but they really also admitted that lawyers really don't make a lot of money, and that they make money off of divorce,
Yeah.
and that even then, the lawyers were lobbying to stop allowing people who did not have law degrees to be mediators, because they were recognizing that mediators were making good money and they wanted that money. So she did tell us, hurry up and get your certificate, get all this done so that you'll be grandfathered in, because the lawyers are about to change this so that they become the mediators and they can have a consistent income.
That's
So
exactly
it was just
right.
sick.
In
Did they do that?
2013, yeah, I'm holding the Duncan Center for Conflict Resolution. He took a 40-hour mediation training, and it was because was being housed in a very unusual, a very strong Christian woman here that was a divorce attorney, could see the benefit of our course. And so she gave us a back room in her office to work with couples. And she told, you need to get your mediation certificate, right away. And it was a really good training. I still have his notebook here, but you're right. The amount of money that, somebody with a certificate, I could see where that would be in direct competition with the attorneys.
Yeah, they figured, why have all these lay people doing it when we can change the law and say that only lawyers can mediate and we can have a consistent income along with everything else they do. So
Yep.
it was really sick.
What you're saying is that the lawyers are having a lot of influence with the legislature as well, and that's exactly what the Texas Family Law Foundation is trying to do. They've set themselves up as a policy advising group, and I've even heard Joel Rogers of the Attorney General's office say, we'll talk with the Texas Family Law Foundation about this. But they are a lobbying group for divorce attorneys. So they're writing laws that are going to profit their clientele, which are the divorce attorneys, and they get passed. I mean, it's absolutely insane and insidiously evil what they're doing to destroy families for the sake of profit. And the other thing that, when you're talking about this stuff, I was watching a case last week. Jake Gilbreth is an attorney down there in Austin. He charges $650 an hour as a family law attorney. What value was he offering at $600 an hour? 2017, I think it was, I received a post of him talking about, he asked this client, should I scowl at your husband when I go by? And he said yes. And basically he says $400 an hour, folks. So he's now increased his fees from 2017 to 2022 from $400 to $650 an hour. And there's no value. They'd never disclose that you can't win a no-fault divorce, for example. They basically create the conflict to get money from the people. Exactly what you're saying, and to destroy them. Maybe I'm just going off on a tangent, but I just saw this again last week. In fact, that's one of the things about Jake Gilbreth, $650 an hour. And the reality is that the judges could, if they say, okay, we'll award your attorney fees, but we're going to cut them down by 80%. You've overcharged, you've overbilled. There's only been one judge that I know of that has ever done that, that I'm aware of. There's probably other ones, but and what they do to get their clients, and they say, well, we'll make your husband pay the attorney fees. We'll request him to pay, or your wife. So if that's the case, you have the incentive to hire the most expensive attorney because you think, well, my ex-spouse is going to pay for these fees. I'm going to really screw him over because I'm going to win, and then he's going to have to pay all these bills. And if it is true that the higher paid attorneys are actually better, it's probably the game might be fixed in that direction. So I mean, it's insidiously evil, completely.
Well, and I've seen examples where the one that's being divorced, like the reluctant
Right.
one, and like the one that doesn't want the divorce. I know situations where we were able to get them good attorneys so that they were protected.
Right.
And because that was the biggest scary, this big scary thing that was going to happen to them, and that they needed good representation to deal with that.
Right. And the issue
So
comes down to this: family law is not law. It's
Right.
lawlessness.
it's